Heading north up Trumbull Street in downtown Hartford, Connecticut. After you pass the former Hartford Civic Center, now the People's Bank Arena, on your left, followed by the DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel, you enter a more open area as you cross over Interstate 84, eventually reaching Main Street across from Duncan Park. Before the highway came through, this area was quite different. Trumbull, between Church Street and Main Street, was lined with buildings, and they contained many businesses and organizations, including several hotels. Hi, this is History with me, Dan Sterner. Please remember to hit subscribe as we explore the lost world of Hartford's Trumbull Street, from Church Street to Main Street. It's quite fitting that the block on the west side of Trumbull Street, just north of Church Street, is a hotel, because this vicinity has been occupied by hotels going back 130 years. Now divided between apartments and a DoubleTree by Hilton, the current building, which is connected above Church Street to the People's Bank Arena, was opened in 1975 as a Sheraton hotel. Way back in 1896, the new Dom Hotel was built on the corner of Trumbull and Church Streets. For a brief period, 1909 to 1911, it was renamed for cafe operator Gus Koch, but then it became the new Dom again. Eventually, its original, fairly unimposing entrance was replaced by a more striking marquee. The hotel retained the name New Dom until a new owner rechristened it the Hotel Claret in 1956. Various businesses also occupied the ground floor of this building, which was finally torn down in 1967. Just north of the New Dom Claret Hotel, there was a 3-story building erected in the early 20th century. It had halls on the 3rd floor that were home to 2 fraternal organizations: Castle Hall, used by the Knights of Pythias, and a hall used by the Jewish organization B'nai B'rith. Next to that building was a more modest 2-story structure. The rest of the block up to Chapel Street was occupied by a row of 3 more 5-story hotel buildings. These extended out towards the area where the highway is today. First was the Hotel Hudson, next to that was the Hotel Trumbull, and last was the Hotel Savoy. The Hotel Trumbull had to be repaired after being damaged in a fire on December 4, 1928. In the 1940s, the Hotel Hudson became the Embassy Hotel. By the time of this photo, circa 1960, the adjacent Hotel Trumbull had just been demolished. The Embassy would soon follow, along with the Savoy just to the north, as they were all being cleared for the coming of the highway. Demolition would also be the fate of the substantial 4-story building erected in 1927 just north of the hotels at the corner of Chapel Street. A number of restaurants occupied space in these buildings over the years. Nichols Restaurant was located in the corner building. Another restaurant and bar, located in the neighboring Savoy Hotel from the mid-1930s, was called the original Hofbrauhaus, known for its German fare, collection of beer steins, lederhosen-clad servers, and a band that played waltzes. The establishment had to relocate to the Hotel Guard on Asylum Street in 1960, when construction for the new highway was imminent. If you are liking this video so far, please remember to hit subscribe. North of the buildings I've just been talking about, between Chapel Street and Main Street, were a few more modest structures. On the northwest corner of Chapel and Trumbull was a tire dealership. From 1821 until 1860, this had been the site of Hartford's first Methodist church. When the congregation moved to a new building on Asylum Street, the old church's steeple was removed. From 1879 until 1889, the building was used by architect John C. Mead as his office and woodworking shop. It was torn down in 1916. This photo, also taken shortly before all of this area was leveled for what was then called the East-West Highway, is a view east down Chapel Street towards Trumbull Street. The tire place is on the left, and the building that had Nichols Restaurant is on the right. Across the street, numerous buildings of various shapes and sizes lined the east side of Trumbull Street up to the intersection with Main. Heading back southward, the east side of Trumbull Street is not as well documented photographically as the west side hotels are. This photo of the 1928 fire at the Hotel Trumbull shows various buildings across the street. One was a fairly tall building with a prominent roofline cornice. Another had a mansard roof. Between these two buildings were two modest older houses. In the early 20th century, these were remnants of an earlier era for this stretch of Trumbull Street, which several decades earlier had still been primarily residential, as shown in this view of the area after an ice storm in 1891. Moving a little further south, this is yet another photo of the 1928 fire. It shows a wide two-story building topped by a triangular pediment. This structure was erected near the start of the 20th century as a car showroom called the Palace Automobile Station. It was substantially enlarged in 1910, resulting in the building shown in this photograph. Just south of it was a crenellated, castle-like structure designed by William S. Barker, the architect of many buildings erected for the Salvation Army. Opened in 1919, this building was Hartford's Salvation Army Citadel until it was sold to the Hartford Redevelopment Agency in 1966. The Salvation Army then moved to its present citadel at the corner of Jefferson and Washington Streets. A few doors down, at the northeast corner of Trumbull and Church Streets, across from the New Dom Hotel, was an old 19th century commercial building. By the early 1970s, this structure and everything else in the vicinity had been removed to be replaced by a parking garage on the east side of Trumbull and, as we've mentioned, the current hotel that stands on the west side of the street. The open area around the highway overpass gives little sense today of the denser streetscape and the many businesses, including lost hotels, that once existed here. Do you remember any of the lost landmarks that were once here, like the many hotels, the Salvation Army Citadel, or the Hofbrau House? Please leave a comment, and thanks for watching.